still missing quite a bit of people. So let's hang tight for a little bit. Sure, it's already been a long week. Regina, hi, good morning. Anna Hatch. Savannah, hi, good morning. Regina, good morning. Danya, hey, where'd you go? Ryan, good morning.
Excuse me. Hello. Before we start, my name is Jay Laquan Jackson, and I have a doctor's appointment at 9:30, and I know I'm not allowed to be in the car while I'm on Zoom.
Right.
So am I able to email you a doctor's note when I have to clock off?
That would be fantastic.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. Please tell me how to pronounce your name again.
It's pronounced Jay Laquan, but I like being called Jay.
Just Jay? Oh, that's perfect. That's easy for
Thank
me. Jay, what campus are you from?
Centerville.
Centerville. Thanks. Yeah, just get me a doctor's note, please. That'd be fantastic. Okay, Regina, can you hear me? Danya, hey, thanks for coming this morning.
No problem.
Okay. Regina, can you hear me? Still. Okay. Davania?
Yes, I, I, I can hear.
Okay. First, I need to speak with Davania. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you cannot be in a car.
I'm about to
Okay.
park now.
Okay, so why don't you log off and log back on when where are you going? Please. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Makara?
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. What campus are you from?
Westerville.
So that is Columbus. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Welcome. Savannah, welcome. Savannah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Great. What campus are you from?
Centerville.
Centerville. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Just bear with me till I get everybody. Ryan, Regina, can you hear me? Hey, Erica and Michaela, tell me, I need you to turn your cameras on, please. Tia, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, I'm great. Thanks for asking. What campus are you from?
The Cincinnati Borders campus.
Cincinnati. Fantastic. Thank you. And Magdalene, good morning.
Good morning.
What
I'm from
campus?
Westerville.
Center. Okay, that is what
Westerville.
Westerville is not Centerville, it's Columbus, correct?
Oh, okay.
Is that right? No, I'm asking. That's Columbus.
It is. Ohio,
Okay.
Columbus.
All right, great. All right. Mm, okay, Magdalene. None of you guys are on my roster, but that's great. Magdalene, Tenshu Kaba. You're from Columbus. Okay. All right. So Ryan's here. Devonia, Clarence, Ebony. Yeah, by Friday of this week, there's lots of schedule changes. So that's why it's taken me a little bit to get organized here. I have a lot of people that were taken off my roster, put back on, and I have a lot of new people. So we'll just go with what we have for now. So good morning. Good morning. I know it's been a long week for you guys. With all your classes, I'm assuming most of you are taking med surg and peds. Yeah. So this is a busy term. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm Professor Marvel. I'll be your community instructor for this term. I'm also the course lead for community. So we have, I believe, 5 sections. I'm teaching 3 sections, and I have 2 teammates, Dr. Kershaw and Dr. Ford, who will be helping me. They teach Friday classes as well. So welcome. Just a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I made the drive from Denver yesterday. I'm up here in South Dakota, Spearfish, South Dakota. My son's getting married tomorrow.
Wow,
Up-
congratulations.
Thanks. Last one to go. 3 down, 1 to go. So he's gone
Wow.
tomorrow. So we are up here in Spearfish. The bride's from Spearfish, South Dakota. So I've never been up here before. So that's where I'm teaching from today, Spearfish, South Dakota. So a little bit about me. I don't know if you read my instructor page real quick. I just celebrated 40 years in nursing in May. I've done all kinds of nursing. I started in the Navy back in the 80s. Was a Navy nurse for about 10 years. Loved it. Moved to Denver, and then was the director of Women's and Children's Services for a big hospital in Denver. So that's where I got all my peds and NICU and OB and L&D, all that experience. Did that for about 20 years. And then I just retired last year from the schools. I was in school nursing for a big district in Denver. We had 90,000 students and about 200 schools. So
Wow.
got lots of community and public health experience in that job. And then this term, once I finish this term, it'll be a full 3 years with Fortis. So I always wanted to finish out my career in education. So here I am. So 3 years into Fortis and love it. Absolutely love teaching community health. So really happy to be here. I call this my give back time. This is my give back time. After 40 years in nursing, it's time for me to give back to the new group of nurses coming up. So hopefully with my experience and wisdom and knowledge, you'll learn about community nursing in this class. So so that's a little bit about me. Absolutely love teaching for Fortis. Love it. I love the students. I love meeting with the students. I love getting to know the students. So it's a win-win. So okay, so today I know that you've probably all covered that orientation PowerPoint. I get it, but I have to go through it. And I'm assuming everybody has seen it this week with your other classes. Is there anybody who hasn't seen it? Okay, so we'll go through it rather quickly. Okay, and then I want to cover the syllabus. and I want to cover the some part of the modules. Okay. I really think you're going to enjoy this class. I always start off by asking, what are the horror stories you've heard about this class?
I heard it was terrible.
There you go. Tell me again how to pronounce your name.
Kayla.
Okay, my. Yep. Okay, so there you go. Kayla, she started us off with a bang. It's terrible.
Why?
The Hesse
What's so bad about it?
What? Yeah, what's so bad about it?
I've heard that they said the projects were hard.
Mm.
It was a lot of work, and the Hesse.
Yeah, I heard the same.
That's what
Okay.
I've heard.
But I don't know how reliable the sources were. So
And I heard
I-
it's even worse because we don't have like the physical book. It's like you're getting
Yeah,
multiple sources.
But if you guys look through the summaries and the modules and the week reading, you'll actually see where and how she's taken the resources from. Like the first one is from your fundamentals book. Open up your fundamentals, it's right there. So it's a part, and I think it's all what we've learned all together. And eventually you have to give
Wow.
back to the community. So it's basically
Wow.
all combined together. Yep.
Aaliyah just answered our next question, which is, okay, any more horror stories to report? Any horror stories about me? None?
My experience.
What?
And again, Hesse is scary because we actually don't know, with my personal experiences, where do we really and how much should we learn. So whatever we know, we just have to give it all our best. And the trick is to do well in your unit exam, so you don't have to have a high score for the Hesse.
Oh,
So start good from the beginning, and then hopefully Hesse won't be that challenging.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, why do we think this course is placed in your second to last term? Aaliyah is started to address it. Why do we think it's in your seventh term?
Like I said, I think it's a combination of everything, and then you're gonna meet all sorts of people in the community you live in, and some could be related to your peds or your maternity or your
So,
just the fundamentals. Somebody's gonna come in with a fever, or someone's gonna have anything. So it's a combination of all what we've studied together.
so that's exactly right. This course is placed at the end of your program because it's time to pull everything together. Okay. If you think about community nursing, you could be caring for Devania. Hey,
Hey.
I can't have you in a car.
They're working on my house. It's very, very loud. I can't go in.
I'm sorry. It's just I can't have you in a car. So I'm sorry.
I thought it was because we couldn't drive.
No,
I'm literally
no, I can't. I'm sorry. You can't be in a car. So in fact, we got an email from Dean Brown yesterday. I don't know whether driving in a car is an issue, but we received a email from Dean Brown yesterday emphasizing about the car. Whether you just can't be in a car. Whether you're driving, passenger, sitting in a parking lot, just a no-go. So, and there's certain things I am super flexible. There's certain things I can be flexible about, and there's certain things I can't. And this car business, I can't. So just know that it's not me being mean or me. I'm just, and especially since we got an email yesterday, so there must be issues this week with people in cars. So, anyway, so this is at the end of the term, because think about community nursing. You could be taking care of anybody across the whole lifespan, babies, kids, adults, elderly. Okay, so it's time to put all your tools together. You're gonna this is a heavily med surge focused class.
I can't answer phone ringing. Our door.
Pardon me? Pardon me?
Sorry.
This is a heavily focused med-surg class. Okay, your HESIs are med-surg focused. Okay, so you're bringing your med-surg skills, your ped skills, your fundamental skills, your pharmacology skills, your Jerry skills. Everything's coming full circle into this class. And in my exit meetings with my students last week, one of the students summed it up perfectly. She said, when you told us this was a med-surg class at the beginning, she said, my summary is that this is simply a med-surg class practiced in the community. Does that make sense? Because think about it. Think about community nursing, okay? When somebody goes home from the hospital, whether they go to a long-term care, whether they go to a rehab, or whether you have urgent care, medical office buildings, healthcare is provided in the community setting in lots of different ways, right? Just because somebody comes home from the hospital doesn't mean they don't need any services. Okay, so this is transferring the care of, say, an inpatient client into the community. We also in the community have urgent cares, we have medical office buildings, we have clinics, we have schools, right? That's what I did. We have occupational health nurses, which focus on the workplace. We have hospice nurses, right? We have home health
Miss
nurses.
Kathleen, you're breaking up a bit.
Pardon me?
Me, guys, or is guys, is Miss Kathleen breaking up, or is it just me?
Yes,
No, she's breaking it up.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah, Miss Kathleen,
Yeah.
you're breaking up. Yes, ma'am.
Can
Now
you hear
you're
me
not.
now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you, but sometimes your
yes,
camera
can
becomes
hear you
static.
now. Yes, can hear you.
Okay. So there's lots of different ways we deliver care in the community, and we're going to learn about that this term, and we will go through the modules and look at all the topics we're going to cover. Okay.
I have just one question, ma'am. I have a question. So, as a community nurse, like, where do you find community nurses? Like, are they in a particular area, or they sit in an office? What is it like? Where do you, like, what is a community nurse? Is it a title? Is it a job? What is it?
So public health is the big umbrella.
Public health. I get it.
Community nursing is under the umbrella of public health.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And so for week
Thank
one, you're welcome. In week one, I sent you a recording, right? And I sent you your weekly notes. Okay. That's what you're responsible for this week. Okay. This is orientation week, so we cover the PowerPoint. This is the only week that you'll get a recording. The rest of the weeks will be live. Okay. During exam weeks, when we don't cover any content, I'll cover that content the following week. Does that make sense? So for example, your week 4 exam, I'll cover week 4 and 5 content in week 5. Does that make sense? But we'll go through that. Let's get through this PowerPoint and then we'll talk about the class. Did everybody see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So we'll go through this rather quickly. We all know what online nursing is at this point, do we not? Okay.
Mhm.
We don't need, you really, let's see, online. I'm trying to see if I need to repeat any of this. Lots of activities to do in this class, homework assignments. However, it is a I'll get to that. It is a 2-credit class, and the hours expected are 2 credits, 2 credits worth of work. All right, here's who you contact. So whenever there's an issue or you have to contact me, here's my contact information. Here's my email. Okay. And then also Dean Brown's information is down here as well. Okay. My phone number is listed on my instructor page. I have no problem with you guys contacting me by phone, texting, calling me, just identify who you are because I have 3 different sections. Okay, if you have issues, come to me first. Okay, if we can't resolve them, then we'll go to Dean Brown. Okay, so keep my information and Dean Brown's information handy. Okay, I sent you an announcement early on about etiquette. Okay, I don't typically have issues with etiquette in my classes. If I'm having an issue with a student, I'll pull that student aside and we will talk one-on-one. But just being respectful of others and being respectful of others' comments and experiences is expected. Okay. The other thing too that I want to mention before I go any further is this class has an extra 10 minutes added. You got an email from Dean Brown about that. Do you guys understand why?
Because of Thanksgiving and other holidays.
Yeah, it's because of the holidays. Rather than trying to have you make up a class, we've extended this class for about 10 minutes each time. So instead of what I typically do with my other classes, since it's an hour and 40 minutes, is we don't do a break and we do it in an hour and a half. So if you guys are okay with not taking a break, we'll be done at 40 after the hour. Is that okay with everybody?
Perfect. Yep.
If anybody has an issue with that, please let me know. Okay. Attendance. You're expected to attend this class on Fridays. Okay, there's no more shifting. Can I come to your Monday section? Can I come to your Tuesday section? You're expected to attend this class. Okay, if you have an issue, please let me know. One of the things that my biggest expectation for students is communication. Okay, I'm super easy to work with. I'm super easy to communicate with. I'm super easy to talk to. I just need communication. If there's anything that's preventing you from being successful in the class, you got to let me know ahead of time so we can work something out. Does that make sense? And I mean that sincerely. I really need effective communication. Late work. You've already been through this a couple of times this week. It starts with prior approval. If you're going to be late for an assignment, you have to let me know. Okay. And then I can grant you the 1 to 7 days late, the extension period where you'll have to take a 10% deduction. Okay. But you got to let me know first. Like, for example, I went through the grade book yesterday, and for those that didn't turn in the initial discussion post for week 1, that part of the rubric gets a 0. I didn't hear from anybody that they were going to be late or they couldn't turn it in. So everybody that didn't turn it in, that part gets deducted from the rubric. You still have the opportunity to turn in your peer responses by Sunday, and that part will be graded in the rubric. Okay, and I sent this particular group out an announcement, I think Wednesday, and said, don't forget, I know we don't have class till Friday, but don't forget you have an assignment due tonight. So,
You did.
pardon me?
You did, ma'am. You did.
Yeah. So anyway, with the late policy, you got to let me know first. Okay, and then you have your 1 to 7 days. If you don't let me know, there's no 1 to 7 days. Okay, and that's where it
What
says,
would that look like?
pardon me?
Would that be like a 50% or something? If you only reply to your peers?
You'd have to look at the rubric. Yeah, look at the rubric. I don't have that rubric memorized, but there's six boxes in the rubric. The top 3 have to do with the initial response, and the bottom 3 have to do with the peer responses. So you'd be getting a 0 on those top 3 boxes. Okay. So attendance is recorded during this session. Obviously, you guys know the drill for attendance. You come in at 9:01 and you have to get docked 15 minutes, right? This is nothing new. This is the attendance policy. So try to be on time for class. Okay, because those 15-minute increments add up. Okay, they add up and you end up getting letters because you're tardy, and then we have to sit down and meet with you and your dean, and just come to class on time. And we won't get into any of those issues, but everything's in 15 minutes. So if you come 1 minute after the hour, or 5 minutes, or 14 minutes, that's 15 minutes of dock time. If you end up coming at like 9:16, then it has to get bumped to 30 minutes. Okay? You need to sign in with your full names. You don't need to be on camera the whole time. And anyone at work or driving is removed from the session. All right. So I don't want to deal with the camera issue. You're expected to be on camera, stay on camera for the class time. It's like going to your on-ground classes, right? You're there, you're present, you're participating. Okay. You guys have seen this. I get a report after the class. I send it on to your registrar, and then I have to put your attendance in Campus View. So again, we just come to class on time, stay the whole time, stay on camera, participate, engage. You'll be fine. There won't be any issues. Okay. And then you guys can read this on your own. Slide 10, it talks about if you have 5% missing, 10%, 15. If you do get all the way up to 20%, you risk failing the class, and you also risk going down a whole letter grade. So again, be mindful of your attendance. I'm assuming you guys are already doing these 7 key steps to success. You've made it this far in the program, so you're reviewing your work each week, you're completing your assignments, you are attending class, you're reading through rubrics and assignments, attending exam reviews. We'll talk about that in a minute. So to be successful, keep in contact with me, have a reliable internet connection. If for some reason you don't have a reliable internet connection, you probably should make arrangements to come to class on campus, or to take your exams on campus. Okay. I use announcements all the time, and so please check your announcements frequently. My understanding is that you guys get notified when I posted an announcement, so go in and read those. Okay, you're going to get a weekly announcement from me every weekend, the prior to the class, that is very similar to the one you got for week 1. It will have your blueprint notes, which I'll explain what those are in a bit, and any other activities that we're going to be doing. Okay. Submit your assignments on time. There's just, well, I'll talk about the workload here in a bit. Towards the end of the do not procrastinate. Okay, we already know day 1. Whoops. This is day 1. So you've already figured out how to log on. This is my Zoom for the whole term. Okay, so if we're tutoring, if we're meeting one-on-one, if we're whatever we're doing, this is my Zoom. It's all on my Zoom for the whole term. Okay, this is what I want to go over. This is the workload for the class. Okay, it's in here and it's in your syllabus. So you have 3 unit exams that are worth 55%, and then we have 5 quizzes that are worth 1% each. Okay, so that gets you to 60, and then your HESI is worth 20, so that gets you to 80. Okay, so the top 3 things are your KGAs, your 3 unit exams, your HESI, and your quizzes. Okay, then your homework. Pardon me?
Sorry, Miss Catherine. One question. The quizzes are not shown on the modules.
Right, because
So
I have them. I have them
Huh?
unpublished.
Okay.
I have the quizzes unpublished for now. I don't publish those until the day of class, because we take the
Okay.
quizzes in class time at the beginning of class. So yes,
Okay.
there are 5 quizzes. They're listed in your syllabus. They're in weeks 2 and 3.
2, 3.
2, 3, 4 is an exam week. They're in weeks 5 and 6,
Mm.
and week 8.
Okay. So next week will be quiz.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Yep. NCLEX, you have 4 sets of NCLEX questions, each worth 1.25%. So there's 4 groups of 50. You have a community research project, which the other term for that is vulnerable populations. Okay, and that's due in week 10, and we'll go through that. You have a HESI prep assignment that's due in week 9, and we'll go through that. 2 case studies. I believe they're in weeks 4 and 9. And then you have a couple of discussion questions. The great news about this class is we only have 2 discussion questions, and they're over in week 2. They're in weeks 1 and 2. So after week 2, there's no more discussion questions.
Oh,
Okay. So, and the other part of the discussion questions is you guys will have a group project. We'll talk about that when we get to the modules. That's not due till week 7. So that's your workload in the class. I will turn on homework grades probably in week 6, the end of week 5, week 6, so that you can see how your homework is affecting your grade. Okay, if you're turning in your homework, then it's going to go up. If you're not turning in your homework, it's going to go down. And you guys all know this rule, right? With your KGAs, your quizzes, your exams, and your HESI, you have to have a 78% before your homework gets kicked in at the end, right? Everybody's aware of that. That's the way it's been your whole program. Does anybody have any questions about that? Quizzes are part of KGA, which I have them is why I have them unpublished right now. So they have to be proctored. Okay, so they're given at the beginning of class. Okay, so the expectation is that you're prepared for class. So next week, when you come to class, you're going to have your first quiz. It's going to be on weeks 1 and 2. Okay.
1
when
and
you
2? The readings of 1 and 2?
correct. And then on week 3, when we have a quiz on week 3, that will be week 3's content. Okay, so your quizzes cover the weeks we're doing. And the expectation is we take them at the beginning of the class so that hopefully we can identify the concepts that you're not getting, or, you know, if you haven't prepared for class, probably not going to do great on the quizzes. So the expectation is that you prepare for class. And the way you prepare for class, 2 things. You do your readings and you review the weekly notes that I sent. And I'll review that when we get to the syllabus. Exams, there's absolutely nothing different with exams. 0. Okay, I do not open my exams until the day of for exam integrity. I'll send you an email usually an hour before class that says your exam is ready to download. Okay, so those exams won't open up until an hour before the exam. But there's no process-wise, there's no difference with taking exams. I would encourage you between now and week 4, which is your first exam, to go into ExamSoft and just double check your account, make sure everything's up and ready. Here's the other thing with exams. I don't mind if you take your exams on campus with a proctor. I have no problem with that. I have lots of students take their exams on campus. You just got to plan ahead. Okay, you have to find your proctor. You need to let me know at least 72 hours ahead of time you're planning on taking it on campus, and provide me the proctor's contact information. Okay, so I can reach out and provide them the passcode and all that. All right. And then I'll make sure your dean's in the loop and knows that you'll be taking the exam on campus. Okay, so again, I have no problem with that. You just have to do some prep work.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What, instead of taking it, because I don't ever take my exams at home because I have children that are insane and they're loud. So I usually go on campus and do it in the library by myself. Is that
That's
okay?
fine. Yeah.
Okay, but I don't need a
No, that would the only way you would need a proctor is if you weren't coming online to this class. But if
Okay.
you're taking it somewhere else, oh yeah, absolutely, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. And Erica brings up a good point. That's another thing I like to mention with exams is please make sure you're in a quiet place. All right.
Yeah,
Whatever you
Professor,
have to. Pardon
I
me?
also be taking my exams in school because in between this class, I have my sim class that starts at 11 o'clock in school. So from
Yeah,
next week, I'll be attending class from school. I don't
yeah,
know if
that's
you,
great. That's
okay.
great. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're online. If you're not online, then the expectation is you're with a proctor somewhere.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Just
It is.
you just need to prioritize being in a quiet place. You
Okay.
know, it really, I mean, I've had lots of students take exams at home and you can see kids jumping around and, you know, people walking through and it really makes a difference. So anyway, proctored, nothing, like I said, nothing new with exams there. Proctored, you have to stay on camera, you got to show me your ID, all that. Okay. Missed exams. If you just don't show up, it ends up being a 0. Okay, no communication, just 0. If you end up missing an exam for a personal reason, you got to let me know. Okay, we can reschedule it within a week, but you'll end up taking 10% deduction. Okay, if for some reason you have an emergency, which emergencies happen, we get it. Get your documentation. All right. If there's an emergency and you can't take the exam, you're going to have to get documentation, get it to me. I'll get it to Dean Brown. If it's approved, we'll reschedule you to take the exam. Okay. I can't do anything. I can't do anything after you've taken the exam. If something is preventing you from preparing, if something is preventing you from taking the exam, okay, you got to let me know. I can't. You got to let me know before, not after. Okay. And here's that slide. Let me talk to me before the exam, not after. Okay. Contact me if you have any problems, just like some additional help. I'm super flexible. Okay. I know the syllabus cover sheet that I sent you guys. We have to list office hours. I always just list the hour before class as an office hour. Okay. So if you want to meet with me, let me know and I'll come on early. However, I can meet with you guys whenever. I'm super flexible. Okay. Morning before work, evening when you get home, after work or after class. If you can only meet in the weekends, I'll make it work. I just can't do tomorrow because I have a wedding. But I'm super flexible to meet with all you guys whenever you want. Okay. So remember that. What else do we want to cover? Homework assignments. Just do your homework assignments and turn them in on time. Won't be any issues. Okay, I'm assuming you're already doing these. Planning, prioritizing, completing your work, and submitting your work. So we don't need to go through that. As far as planning and organizing, however it works for you. However, at this point in your program, this is a tough term. You've got 2 other classes. This term requires really solid time management and organizational skills. I always give my little mantra about community is it's just not that much work in community. So get your community stuff done at the beginning of the week, right? Get your assignments done at the beginning of the week and then focus on your other classes the rest of the week. This is not a class this is not a class you want to fail. You don't want to be a homework fail. You don't want to fail. You just don't. Okay. There's no need for it. Okay. It's a manageable class. That's my 2 cents. Late work, we already went through. NCLEX, you guys all know how to find NCLEX questions, right? Know how to submit it. You've got to submit it through the module. Okay, all your assignments you need to submit through the module. All right. NCLEX, it's outlined in each week. It's weeks 3, 6, 9, and 11. What categories you select. It's all outlined for you. Please just turn me in one set of 50. Okay, I can't accept 225s or 510s. Just do one set of 50 because the one set of 50 together gives you all the categories you've selected. If you start breaking down the questions like 225s, it's all over the place. It doesn't give you the full exposure to the content to cover. With regards to NCLEX, I believe that anytime you can get a hold of rationales to say why this answer's right, why this one's wrong, they're excellent, excellent learning tools. Okay, that's why your HESI remediation, excellent learning tool. NCLEX, excellent learning tool. So if you you can do your NCLEX assignment as many times as you want. You can only submit it once. Submit me a high grade. Shoot for between 45 and 50. If you upload a 20 or 30, that tells me you didn't get a lot out of the assignment. Okay? And NCLEX gives you the rationales. These assignments are excellent. They're excellent practice for your NCLEX exam. They're excellent practice for this course exams, a HESI. All right, so if let's say you get a 30, go back and review all the rationales of the questions you missed and then retake it, right? And then get up to 40, right? Go back through the rationales again. That's how you learn, not just take it and submit it. Does that make sense? I'm really a stickler for NCLEXs. If you turn me in an NCLEX below 40 and it's early in the week, not Sunday night, at crunch time, but if you turn me in, up till probably even Saturday, Friday or Saturday, I'm just going to put a comment and say, hey, listen, I reopened the assignment for you if you would like to retake it. And that's more me saying, you probably didn't get a lot out of this assignment if you're turning in this number. So if you want, go back and do it. Some students take me up on it, some don't. So that's my NCLEX sermon. Does that make sense? There's a lot to learn from those NCLEX assignments, guys. Take advantage of it. All right? Okay, that's my grading. Again, you can take it as many times as you want. Just submit it once. And please submit I need the PDF. I can't take screenshots of anything. I need the full PDF, which is like 12 to 16 pages. As far as the HESI case studies, you've got 2 of them, week 4 and week 9. They're already preloaded into your modules. I don't really restrict, other than the quizzes, I don't lock anything for you to work ahead if you want. I mean, if you want, that's fine, but you got to make sure you're up to date on your other classes. Don't just work ahead to get it over with in community. Don't do that. But if you are in a position that you want to work ahead a little bit, I'm fine with that. Okay? I don't lock anything. Case studies, case studies, don't worry about sending me the screenshot. They populate into the gradebook. Don't worry about that. HESI, writing papers and discussions. I sent you an announcement about APA format. It's a little cheat sheet about APA format. It would be helpful as part of the rubric to submit your papers and your discussion posts in APA format, knowing how to cite your sources and doing that accurately. All right, so have a look at that. Review your rubrics. Everything, that's how I grade. You got to review your rubrics. Okay. APA slide. As far as taking exams and quizzes, there's, again, the day of class or right before class, I'll open up the quiz. You'll have it. We'll take it. You submit it, and then we'll go through it. Okay. Technical issues, everybody knows, and I give this in my pre-exam guidelines. If you're having problems, just stop taking the quiz, stop taking the exam, and we'll troubleshoot and figure out how to help you. Okay. As far as your HESI, we'll go through the HESI prep. You have a HESI prep assignment that's due in week 9. It's kind of a work in progress all term. It's your study guide. You build your study guide. That's what it is. Okay, we'll go through that when we get to the module. Remediation hours. I mean, I feel like we just went through this with my last class. Don't you feel like you just took your HESIs?
Yes.
We're already talking about, I don't even want to talk about HESIs right now. We'll talk about it during the term. Okay? There's nothing new with HESIs, nothing. Security, okay, there's nothing more. Okay, so questions on the PowerPoint? Nothing. Okay, let's go to the syllabus. You guys see my screen? Hang on, I'm waiting for it to pull up. Okay, can everybody see that? Whoop,
No, take care.
can
Okay.
everybody, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right. I would like for you guys to review, well, let's go through the course description. All right, so this class is going to be an introduction to promoting health and wellness with individuals in diverse community-based settings. Key concepts, we're going to review the weekly concepts, but key concepts covered in the course: wellness promotion, independence and interdependence, discharge planning, chronic illness, HIV, different healthcare delivery environments, clinics, homes, diagnosis-based care centers. And then we do a community project about a vulnerable population. Okay, it's out of class work is considered 40 hours, and I'll show you the breakdown here. Let's see. You can review your student learning outcomes and review your course objectives. I'd like you to do that on your own. Okay, we have lecture, we have readings, we will have online instruction, we'll have homework assignments and projects. First thing that I want to cover is I need to make sure that everybody has access to books. Okay, I've already gotten a few emails from students in this class. What books do we use? It's right here. Okay, you should already have these 3 books in your library from previous classes. Your fundamentals book, your med-surg book, and your introduction to peds and maternity. Okay, so these books are already in your library. Now, if you,
Miss Kathleen, which was the second book you said? One was fundamental. The
it's
second one
right.
you said
Can you
was?
see my screen?
Hang on. Gotta make it big.
Required learning resources.
Fundamental, med-surg, and introduction. Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay, these are your 3 books that you use. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
you should already have these books. Okay, now
Got
if
it.
you are, oh, by the way, if you are a re-entry student, please let me know, because typically you might have the older versions. All right, the previous versions, and that's no big deal at all. I provide you the conversion guides and we'll go through it. No big deal at all, but let me know. I need to know by the end of the weekend if you do not have access to these books. All right. And then you have reference packages. This is excellent. This Morris, this Calculating with Confidence. I don't know if you guys have ever opened that or pulled that open. It's excellent. It's math. All right, basic math. Okay. Then you guys have your strategies for student success on the NCLEX exam. That's an excellent resource. I mean, you have your comprehensive review of NCLEX PN. Guys, there's great resources in here for you. All right. Accommodations, if anybody has accommodations, please let me know. Okay, you may not need to get new paperwork, but you may need to resubmit it to me because Dean Brown has to approve that every term. Okay, so
Miss Kathleen, sorry, I'm hearing impaired. I wear a hearing aid, but I think it's I get enough recordings and I can read stuff. So but the campus is aware that I'm hearing impaired.
okay, so do you have a
I don't need any accommodation as of I can read. So
Oh,
I thought
okay.
yeah.
Right, so if anybody has any accommodations that they've been using for previous terms, such as extra time in the exams, quiet room, please let me know. We have to get a copy of that paperwork, or resubmit it to Dean Brown. Okay? The other thing is if anybody's repeating or you're have a SAP warning, let me know. Okay, I need to know that. I want to know that. Okay, I want to reach out to students. All right, so shoot me an email if you're repeating or have a SAP warning. Okay. Here is this was in the orientation PowerPoint, but here's the breakdown. Okay, of the work that's in this class. HESI exam we'll go through later on. Late work policy we went through. Please let me know about any late work. Here's the expected time for this 2-credit class to get to your 40 hours. And this is over the course of the whole term. The time and hours we anticipate that you'll spend reading 16 hours, NCLEX 8 hours, which would be 2 hours per assignment, vulnerable populations project, 4 hours, KGA preparation. So KGA would be unit quizzes, exams, and HESI. And then the HESI prep assignment, 2 hours to get to your 40. Okay. There's not, I can't stress enough that this is a very passable class. Okay. You just have to stay on top of things. It gets busy around week 9, and that's where my Kayla was talking about early on, oh, this class is horrible, there's too much work. Well, if you wait until week 9 to start completing those assignments, it is going to be terrible. All right, so let's just go through real quick. These are the things that we're going to be covering this term. This is what community nursing and public health is all about. This week we're talking about introduction to community nursing, levels of healthcare prevention, Healthy People 2030, and then we're gonna introduce vulnerability. Community nursing is full of vulnerable clients. We spend a lot of time starting in weeks 4 and 5 talking about vulnerable populations. Okay, in week 2, we'll cover the school nurse, growth and development, and then common childhood ailments. This is where your med surg comes in. You should have heard about all these and studied these in pediatrics. So here, we'll talk about common childhood ailments in week 2. And actually your discussion question for next week is you pick 3 common childhood ailments and you provide information about them. Okay, so this week's discussion question is you have to pick a vulnerable population, do a little bit of research on it, and do your discussion question. Okay, and that coincides with here in week 1, introduction to vulnerability. The next week, your question is about common childhood ailments. That's what we cover next week. Okay, so those two both coincide with the topics we're going to be covering. Next week, we'll also talk about family nursing and family health risks. And then in week 3, we start to get into the vulnerable populations. I mean, think about when you drive around your community and all the vulnerable populations you see. The ones we'll talk about migrant farm workers, we'll talk about rural populations, homelessness, poverty. We'll talk about pregnant adolescents, LGBTQ population, mental illness, substance abuse, right? These are all issues that we're going to be working with in the community. Then we'll talk about different roles in community nursing, hospice and palliative care, death and dying, faith and spirituality, ethics. Okay. Week 6, we'll get into what's occupational health nursing, what's environmental health nursing, what are some barriers to learning, and how do we reinforce education in the community? Think of all the different clients that we might be teaching in the community. Some may be hearing impaired, some may be vision impaired, some may be young, some may be old, some may be not motivated. Okay. And then we'll talk, week 7, we'll talk about infectious disease prevention and control, HIV, TB, STDs. We'll cover a little bit on bioterrorism and disaster. Week 8, we get into home care. We talk about community resources, case management, care of the chronic complex illnesses in the community. And again, another big med surge topic or topics. And then lastly, in week 9, we'll cover human abuse and violence, cultural influences in nursing. So we cover a lot, right? We cover a lot in this class. It's an overview to what community nursing is under the auspices of public health. Right? There's a lot to think about. The students always say at the very end, week 12, when we do our final analysis, that they just didn't realize there was that much involved in community health. But think about it. Many, many people in the community need health care, right? How does it happen?
We procrastinate.
Pardon me?
I said when you procrastinate, you end up in a lot of problems.
Yeah. So let's go through the modules. I want to point out a couple of things for you. Again, I would say that if you just keep up, just carve out a little bit of time each week to get your community work done. I mean, there's some weeks that the only assignment is a quiz, right? It gets heavy at the end. All right. So if you can work on these bigger projects at the beginning, you're going to be much better off. I'll talk about what those big projects are. Okay. So far, does anybody have any questions?
So, Miss Kathleen, you've given us PowerPoints for the course for week 1 and 2 readings. Should we focus on those PowerPoints regarding our quizzes, or are there any other
It's all
suggestions you'd like to
it's
give
all
us?
part of you. It's all part of your assignment. If you have the PowerPoints, you should review them. Now,
Right,
if
right.
you look in your, let me go back to this. Okay, so here's the way you read this. Okay. Week 1, let's just do week 1. Don't worry about this. This is CO 1 through 3 or course objectives. Okay. Over here are the concepts we're going to cover in the left-hand column. Here's all your reading. And I want to show you what Canvas course readings are. They're right in your module. Okay, so if you see Canvas course reading, that's right in your module. And if you've gone through the week 1 module, you've already seen them. Okay, so this is your reading assignments. Okay, then you have your what's due. So for week 1, we have a discussion question. Okay, for next week. Okay, here's the topics we're going to cover. Here's all the reading. So
we should do these readings and be prepared for the quiz. That's what my question was, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the quiz is going to be based on your reading and the weekly notes that I give you.
Okay, that's
and I'll show you. Okay, so I want to just point out different kinds of reading. So like for this week, up here we have chapter 1. That's why you have the PowerPoint, because it's a full chapter. You're going to get PowerPoints when you have full chapters. However, if you just have, like next week, you just have certain pages in your maternity book, you're not going to get a full PowerPoint because you're not responsible for the whole chapter. You're only responsible for those pages.
Okay.
Does that make sense, everybody? So the
Yeah.
weeks that you'll get PowerPoints, that's when you know you have a full chapter to review. If they're only pages in certain chapters, you're not going to get the full PowerPoint. Okay, so let's go through the module and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Out here. Okay, so here's our modules. Okay, so for example, let me just go into week 1. So if you look at week 1 and it says activities, activities mean that is your Canvas reading. Okay, they're right inside your module. Okay, so what I suggest you do is each week, just slide through the module. Okay, just keep hitting next. Here's your course objectives for this week. Okay, here's your weekly concepts. I believe I have this course very organized. Okay, you're going to see you're going to see a lot of overlap. Okay, so your weekly concepts are going to be what's on your weekly notes. Okay, so here's and it comes right from the syllabus. Okay, so here's our 4 concepts we're covering this week, which are right on your syllabus, right? And then if you go into the next, if you click in next, here's all your weekly readings,
Yeah.
which I copy and paste right from your syllabus. Okay, here's your PowerPoint because you're responsible for chapter 1 in fundamentals. So here's your PowerPoint.
Mm.
Okay. And then it says see Canvas course and it lists 4 topics. So if you click next, you get right into those 4 pages. So here's your introduction page to community nursing.
Okay.
All right. If
Okay.
you next concept, levels of healthcare prevention. There's your page on levels of healthcare prevention. So if
Okay.
it says Canvas activity, that's right in your module. You got to skip through your module and find these. Okay, there's your Healthy People 2030. And here's your introduction to vulnerability. Okay, so they're all in there. They're in your module. And then there's your discussion question. So most weeks do have Canvas readings. Let's look. So activities. So here's your Canvas reading right in your module for week 1. Week 2, you have a couple of Canvas teaching sheets, one on school nursing, one on lead exposure. Okay. Week 3, you have 4. Migrant farm workers, rural populations, homelessness, because I believe I don't think you have any reading in week 3. I think it's all in the module. Yeah. See, there's no book reading. There's no book reading for week 3. It's all in the module. All right. So you just have to go through week by week. Okay.
Okay.
But I would highly suggest that you go to each week and just click through next, and see what's in there. Because that's where you're going to see your NCLEX assignments, your case studies. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's point out a couple of assignments here. I'm not going to focus on the NCLEX and the case studies. We're going to go to the assignments. So in week 7, let's start with week 7. This is where you have a group project. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to assign you guys groups. I'm going to try and keep it within your campuses. Do my best. We have a ton. We have 6 different campuses. All right. So I'm going to try and keep you guys in groups. So you guys, week 7, there's a couple of parts of this instruction that are incorrect. I'm going to actually have it due on Sunday. All right, because there are no peer evaluations. Okay, this is incorrect, and I'm trying to get the curriculum team to change that, but it didn't get changed for this term. So you don't need to worry about that right now. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. There are no peer evaluations, and it's going to be due on Sunday. So what I do is I send you guys your groups in a couple of weeks. We don't need to focus on it now. But I'm going to assign you guys an infectious disease, rubella, HIV, hepatitis, whatever. And you're going to do a research project as a group. Okay, it's right here. Here's your rubric for it. Okay, and you're going to be asked to, it gives you what you need to do. There's like 4 or 5 different things you need to do. And you split it up between your group, you put it together, and you submit a paper. Okay, that's due in week 7. So if I send out your groups in the next couple of weeks, you can start working on it if you want. Turn it in week 3 or 4. All right, so that's your one group project. Okay, so that's due in week 7. And I want to point out in week 9. Okay, this is your HESI prep assignment. This is a work in progress assignment. Okay, it's right here. All right, so what you guys need to do is take this document and save it to your desktop, like this week. Okay, let's pull it up. This is going to be your study guide for HESI. You're going to be building this through the whole term. 1 second. Let me see if that student's back in here. Okay, 1 second. I need to see if I have somebody in my waiting room. I'm just returning a message from Dean Brown. 1 second. Okay. I know you guys are tired. I can see it in your faces. I know this has been a long week. I know it has. And the other thing too is I'm very mindful of how busy this term is for you guys. Okay, very mindful. So let me just stop sharing for a minute. Look at your faces. I'm very mindful. This is a heavy term. Okay. And that's why I want to try and start you off on the right foot. But I know that you may have exams in the same weeks, you may have quizzes in the same weeks. I get it. And that's why I keep saying, if you just carve out a little bit of time for community and get these few assignments done every week, then you'll be okay. You don't want to fall behind in this class because you do nothing but catch up, and you got some other very important classes with peds and med surg. So I just want to relay that I'm very empathetic. I'm very mindful of how busy you guys are this term, which is why I'm trying to simplify it for you. Okay? All right, let's go back. We're getting close. We're getting close here. Okay, so here's your HESI prep. This is due in week 9, but we're going to work on it. I'm going to try and remember to bring it up at the end of every class. Okay, so what I have done, I have gone into HESI. I don't know what questions are asked, but I know the topics that are asked about. All right, HESI, yes, Kayla.
I work better with like paper. Can I like print it out and do
Absolutely.
it like that instead of on the computer?
Absolutely. Yep. So I'm able to develop the exams for the class. I'm not able to develop the HESI. The HESI comes from like a big test bank, like NCLEX, right? But I'm able to see the topics that are asked about. Okay. And so I have put all these topics together. So this is like from the last couple of terms of HESI. This is what they're asking about. Okay, so they're asking a question about SARS. Each of these boxes represent a question, right? They're asking about what do they want to know about CDC reportable diseases, vertical transmission. Okay, so we're going to cover these concepts in class, and your job is to complete these boxes. This is actually an assignment that's turned in for 5% in week 9. But if we keep
Wow.
up, pardon me?
I said, wow,
If we keep up with it, is that a good wow or a bad wow?
good wow.
Oh, good. Okay.
If we can do like 80% of this, we'll be okay in HESI, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, we'll try and cover, like on the week we do epidemiology, we'll try and cover these, and then we'll go in as a class and fill these boxes out together if you want. I mean,
Yeah.
it's considered an individual assignment, but we can do it as a group. And I always tell the students, if you want to get together with groups on your campus and do it together as a team, however, this turns out to be your HESI study guide. So however you want to get it completed, it only helps you. Does that make sense?
Like, can you
The-
give us an example? Like,
Okay.
can you like say,
Yep. So look,
SARS,
yep. So let's look at the directions. I need you
like
to be thinking.
anthrax?
I need you to be thinking of the nursing process as you're filling these
Yeah.
out. So, for example, look at anthrax. First one. Let's see if we were thinking about the nursing process for anthrax incubation, what would we be thinking about? Let's see, maybe we would be thinking about what they might present with, right? What might be the treatments? How is it transmitted? I mean, think about it. Let's say you're the nurse at the urgent care, right?
What are we
And
looking at? What are the signs and symptoms? What the patient
yeah,
has come in with?
well, just think about
Yeah.
nursing process. You have to do your assessment, right? I don't need anybody to outline in every box, ADPI, A, D, P. No, I just need you to think about how would you work with a patient that had a potential anthrax exposure?
Isolation for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Isolation. What kind of isolation? Is it airborne? Is it
exactly,
droplet? Is it
exactly.
standard
What
precaution?
what information do you need in that box for you to understand anthrax in order to be able to care for that patient? Okay. Oh. One second. Sorry, I stopped sharing. One second. So that's what this document is. Okay. It's your HESI prep. This is a work in progress document. So if you're working on this all term, all you're gonna have to do in week 9 is turn it in. But if you're not working on this and you get to week 8 and this document's empty, it's gonna be a huge, huge project. Because then you have to go back and figure out which weeks we covered bioterrorism. Go back to your notes, go back to your readings. So this is a assignment that you should start this week. This is an assignment that you should start this week, right? Students have told me in the end of the term that they wish they had started this earlier. Because remember, turns out to be your study guide. So whatever you put into it, you'll get out of it. If you don't put a lot into it and do it late in the term, you probably won't get a lot out of it. Okay? So I want to point this out to you. It's pretty long, but think about it. The HESI 60 questions.
Professor, on the when it says nursing guidelines, does that mean like knowing like the management and care of it, like like it says the anthrax incubation, you want to know the incubation period and stuff? Is that how you want?
Well, let's think about it. What would be helpful for us as nurses to know if we were taking care of an anthrax patient? How would we do our assessment? How would we identify what plans we need in place for treatment? Okay, I don't, like I said, I don't need you to think about A and P and, ADPI. Just think about it as a whole. Okay,
Okay, all righty.
make sense?
Yep.
So remember, you guys are in the part of the program where you've experienced the transition to next gen, right? Think about next gen when you think about doing this. Next gen involves knowledge, applying your critical knowledge into clinical judgment, right? That's what your exams are about. That's what your finals about. That's what it's taking all the knowledge you've learned and putting it into practice. There's really no more knowledge-based tests, right? These are practice tests. Your tests are scenarios, your tests are case studies, right? Everybody understands what I'm talking about here, right? This is taking your knowledge and applying it to clinical judgment. And that's what the HESI is. The HESI is very med-surg focused. As you can see, there's a lot of topics on here that are med-surg. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about that assignment? Okay. The next assignment, or the other assignment I want to talk to you about, is in week 10. And that's your vulnerable populations assignment. This is really an extension of your first week discussion question. Okay, before I go through that, let's take a look. When I say it gets heavy around week 9, look at week 9. You have a case study. You have your HESI prep assignment, and you have an NCLEX. The other thing you'll also have in week 9 is an opportunity to attend a review for the exam. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, but week 9 is a pre-exam week. So you'll be studying for the 3rd exam. Okay, so lots of stuff in week 9. And then look at week 10. You have your vulnerable populations assignment due, and you have an exam. Okay, and you'll also have the opportunity to attend HESI reviews during this week, because this is pre-HESI week. You guys go from week 10 with an exam right into HESI in week 11. Make sense? And then week 11, not only do you have your HESI, but you have an NCLEX. So once you get to week 9, it's extremely busy. That's why I'm saying to start working on some of these assignments early. Okay? I want to cover a vulnerable populations assignment. Okay, this is essentially a PowerPoint. You got 2 papers. One you do as a group, and it's a paper. It's an infectious disease paper, right? Everybody turns in the same paper at the end, right? This is your own project. This is the one project you do on your own. It's a PowerPoint, anywhere from 6 to 10 slides. Okay? So have a look at this. Start working on this early. You are going to be selecting a vulnerable population in your own community, in your zip code. I don't want teen pregnancy statistics for national or homeless for national statistics. I want it in your zip code. Okay, so pick a vulnerable population in your community that you want to do some research on. A lot of people do, there's some suggestions here. If you want to do something outside of this, that's fine. I think, let's see, veterans, people do veterans. People do, that's not on this list, people do incarcerated people in their zip code. If you have a prison or something, corrections facility in your zip code. Okay, so take your pick. And then you're asked to do, it's all lined out right here. Population description, What are the health risks? What are the resources? What are the service gaps? Meaning, what resources do they not have? And if you look at the rubric, it tells you exactly what you need to do. Describe and how many points are going to be towards it. All right, so you can go through this. I'm just pointing it out that this is there. Okay. So we've talked about the group project due in week 7. I'll send out the groups in a couple of weeks. We've talked about the HESI prep. You have a blank document right now. Okay, we're going to be filling this out, you and I and we, and we're going to be getting this done throughout the term. You need to be working on it. Okay. And then your vulnerable populations assignment. So to clarify, we have exams in weeks 4, 7, and 10. Okay. In weeks 3, 6, and 9, you're going to have the opportunity to attend 3 different live reviews. Okay, each one of us, the 3 of us, do a live review for the exam. Okay, we try and mix it up during morning, evening, night, weekend, weekday. We know we can't get everybody. I'm going to be sending you out that schedule this weekend. Okay, I'm just waiting to hear from one more instructor on the dates. All right, so you'll have the opportunity to attend live reviews for all of your exams. And then in week 10, I know it's an exam week for you, but we'll also provide 3 HESI reviews. Okay, you will get the opportunity to attend 3 different live reviews, and you'll also have the recordings. We share all our recordings, so the recordings will get to all of you. Okay. What else? So I'll get you that schedule by the end of the weekend, with regards to when all these reviews are. And we give it to you ahead of time. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about the exam reviews? What's the last thing you heard me say?
Going in and out, you're freezing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that. What's the last thing you heard me say?
You said that something about the HESI review in week 10.
Yeah.
We
So
shared that. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to be sending out you the master schedule of all the reviews for the whole term. Exam 1, exam 2, exam 3. Okay. So you'll have a full schedule so you can plan accordingly. Okay. Yes, Michaela.
I'm about to go grab my computer charger, so I'm walking away from the camera for a second.
Oh, sure. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Okay.
Mhm.
What else? Let me look at my notes as far as what else I wanted to cover. Oh, announcements. I want to. Can you guys see me and hear me now?
I don't see you. I just see everybody else.
Yes, I can see you, Professor.
Yeah, okay. Last thing I want to go through is a couple of announcements that I sent. Okay, just to make sure everybody's on board, because I want to I want to show you, you're going to get a, by the way, you all have a copy of this PowerPoint that we went through earlier in the class. It's right here. You need to refer back to it. You're going to get a weekly announcement every weekend. It's going to say week 1, week 2, content, information, attachments. I don't know if anybody's opened this yet. First of all, here's my recording for week 1. This is the only time you'll get a recorded lecture, week 1. But I want to show you about the blueprint notes that I share with you every week. And again, this is a compilation. You'll see it, you're going to see it in 3 different places. You'll see it in the module, the syllabus, and on your weekly notes. Okay, so this is very helpful in preparing for exams. Okay. let's see. Okay, so for week 1 that you just got, you have your concepts, right? I list out your concepts at the top. I've taken it right from the syllabus. Then I list out your reading. And then each yellow highlighted section is additional information about the concept. So introduction to community nursing, levels of prevention, everything follows along. Okay, introduction to vulnerable populations. So you're going to get notes like that every week. All right, so the syllabus, the module, and your weekly notes are all going to look the same. Right, I'm trying to keep you guys organized and focused on what we need to know so that you're not going through studying everything. In your announcements, today's the last day you can request to change classes. In your announcements, you also have some math resources. If you struggle with math, I suggest you open up those math resources. Okay, Dean Brown, there's a math resource from Dean Brown. She did a tutoring session that's basic math. There's also an excellent tutoring session from Professor Bogart, who some of you might have for pediatrics. She has a YouTube channel and she does a very simple math tutorial. All right, so I would suggest you go in and look at that. You got a cheat sheet in there about APA format. My contact information is in another one. So if you haven't taken a chance to look at the announcements yet, please do over the weekend. And then this weekend, I'll be sending week 2 announcements. It will say week 2 blueprint. Same thing. It will list out the concepts we're covering that are right in your syllabus, list out the readings, and then has notes about each concept. So if you are doing your readings, looking at your weekly notes, you're going to be fine. That's how you prepare for class. And if you have some PowerPoints in your weekly readings because you're being asked to cover a full chapter, you'll review that PowerPoint. But like next week with all the common childhood ailments, they're just a couple of pages from each chapter on each one. Okay. Access to books we talked about, announcements, HESI prep, weekly notes. Oh, just to make a note, quiz 5, which is in week 8, is going to have to be given in week 9 because that's the Friday after Thanksgiving. Okay, and I'll mention that as we get there, but I just wanted to point that out. So quiz 5, as it says on your assignments, the quiz 5 will be given in week 8. It will. And I think I already put the correct date in there. Quizzes you don't see yet, you'll see on the day of class. Exam review schedule coming as soon as I get my last dates from the other professor. Campuses I got. I need to know again if you're repeat, re-entry, or have accommodations. Assigning groups, we talked about that, and we talked about the time extension of the class. So that's what I needed to cover today. I know we're probably 10 minutes early because we didn't take a break. Does anybody have any questions? Do you feel a little bit more comfortable now than you did an hour and a half ago?
Yes.
It's very manageable.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's manageable. Stay on top of it. Don't prepare yourself for exam 1. You don't want to get behind early because with so little KGA assignments, you just play catch up. I don't want you stressing about this class. Just look at this class differently. It doesn't have a clinical, doesn't have a sim, doesn't have a lab. Okay, you have to look at this class in a different way. We're taking everything you've learned outside into the community, right? So if you work in a hospital now, if you work in a long-term care facility now, you got to take off those hats. And we're walking into the community and taking care of people in the community. Okay? I think this class is very different from your other ones. I think you just need to try and keep an open mind and know that healthcare is provided in the community in many different settings and many different ways. And even if you don't go and work in the community, you're going to be interacting with people in the community. Let's say you're a discharge planner and you're discharging somebody from the hospital that had a stroke. Well, services need to be set up for that person, right? As they're going home or they're going to a rehab facility. You know, community nursing is
Case management, you can be a
case management is huge.
you can be a case manager, right?
Pardon me? Pardon me?
You can be a case manager.
Yeah.
You need to know the resources available to patients.
Yep. We'll talk about case management as we go, but community nursing is all about teamwork. It's about collaboration. Lots of services are working together in sync to try and provide the best outcome for these patients, clients. So you just have to look at this class a little bit differently. Like I said, you're not in clinicals, you're not in sims, you're not in labs. Okay? So I would ask you to just keep an open mind. It'll be fine. You guys will be fine. It'll be fine. And you got to reach out to me if you need any help, any tutoring, any assistance, right? Okay. Anybody have any questions? That's all I have for this morning. I'll stay on if you have some questions. Otherwise, you know how to reach me. You can reach me through my through the shell, Canvas. You can reach me through my email. You can reach me through my phone. Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you, Professor.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet
I
you
hope you
too.
guys have a
Thank
nice
you.
weekend and we'll see you
Thank you.
next week.
You.
You too. Have fun at the wedding.
Oh, I will. Yeah,
Have fun at the wedding.
thanks.
Enjoy your party.
Okay, I will. I will.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.